Oh my goodness, was the first reaction I had after LeBron James finally made his decision and joining the Philadelphia 76ers. LeBron is officially heading back to the Eastern Conference, and Philly may have just completed one of the greatest offseasons we've seen in NBA history recently. Obviously, they still have to go out and win, but if this team wins a championship, we're going to look back at what Philadelphia accomplished this summer as an all-time offseason. First, they somehow convinced the Boston Celtics to trade away Jaylen Brown. Now, understand that the Philly gave up Paul George 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. I'm not pretending it was a straight-up swap, but we're talking about a 36-year-old Paul George who has been one of the biggest disappointments, sadly, that Philly had, and he was really on one of the worst contracts in the NBA. But you're turning that into an all-NBA caliber player in Jaylen Brown and coming off one of the best seasons of his entire NBA career. Jaylen Brown is a Finals MVP, an NBA champion, and one of the best two-way wings in basketball. And then on top of that, you have the icing on the cake, getting LeBron on arguably the best deal possible that you could have at 2 years, $8 million. But on top of that, he's one of the best players of all time. And he's on your team now. That's pretty insane. And I add a player option, so that is still a possibility that he could retire after that one season in Philly, depending on what he wants to do. But this might be the biggest finesse we've seen in recent NBA history. And now, because of this roster, the expectations are obviously going to be extremely high. For Philadelphia, this is probably a championship or bust at the very least. Anything short of a deep run to the NBA Finals is going to feel disappointing. But for LeBron personally, let's be real. He generally doesn't really have much left to prove. He's the all-time leading scorer. He has 4 NBA championships, 4 MVPs, 4 Finals MVPs, and has won with 3 different franchises. A 5th championship would just add to his legacy. He doesn't need to validate anything. What's interesting though is LeBron has always kind of had this franchise savior pattern. He repeatedly goes to teams, something missing. His arrival completely changes the direction of that franchise. During that first run in Cleveland, the Cavaliers never consistently built the best roster around him, but LeBron still carried that team to the 2007 NBA Finals. Then he goes to Miami. The Heat already had Dwayne Wade, but they needed a complete retool of that roster. They added LeBron and Chris Bosh and went to 4 consecutive finals and won 2 championships back to back. Then LeBron returns back home to Cleveland. That franchise had fallen apart after he left, but they had Kyrie Irving and the assets necessary to build another contender. LeBron came back, delivered a championship to Cleveland, the promise that he kept. Then LeBron decides to join the Lakers, a franchise that had missed the playoffs for 6 consecutive seasons and desperately needed another superstar. LeBron James arrived, then Anthony Davis followed a year later, and they won the 2020 NBA championship. Now he's going to Philly. This is a franchise that has consistently though made the playoffs throughout the Joel Embiid era, but hasn't reached it to the conference finals since they had AI. And even then, that's when they made it to the finals. That's back in 01. I wasn't even born yet. Closest opportunity came back in 2019 when Kawhi hit that unbelievable buzzer beater in Game 7 to send the Raptors to the conference finals then. Well, Embiid wasn't really happy about that. Philadelphia 76ers fans have spent years trying to get over that hump. Now they have LeBron James. And I'm going to say it, on paper, this is the most talented starting lineup LeBron has ever played with during his entire NBA career. People are obviously going to mention Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami, and that is fair. That team had an incredible top-end talent, but I'm talking about a team with a complete starting 5. That Miami Heat starting lineup back then, they didn't have every single player pretty much being a borderline all-star level, or if not better player in their starting lineup. The only guy on the 76ers lineup right now that isn't an all-star, of course, is VJ Edgecombe, and he's going into his 2nd season, which is just crazy to even say. Tyrese Maxey is an all-NBA caliber point guard, one of the fastest, most shiftiest players in the league, and one of the league's best natural scorers. VJ is coming off a promising rookie season. He's athletic, he's competitive, he already has provided value on both ends of the floor. Now he gets an opportunity to continue to develop alongside LeBron, Maxey, Brown, and Embiid. Then you have Jaylen Brown, who brings scoring, physical defense, championship experience, an edge that a Philadelphia 76ers team definitely needs. I know he's going to be hungry after Boston decided to move on to him as well. And then, of course, you have Joel Embiid, still probably one of this generation's best bigs, but they compete when they make it to the playoffs, most likely, of course. What I love the most really about this move is that LeBron, he's no longer going to have to carry an enormous offensive load. He doesn't need to average 25 points per game. He honestly doesn't even need to average 20. It would be strange though looking at the stat line and seeing LeBron average like 15, 16, or 17 points. But he could legitimately average close to a double-double, because I expect him in Philadelphia to be used as a primary initiator. Let's not forget, when the Lakers won their championship back in 2020, LeBron essentially played point guard and led that team, and he was the league leader in assists that year as well too. He could potentially be near the top of the league in assists again with this roster. Imagine LeBron initiating the offense, Maxey flying around the court, Brown attacking from the wing, Edgecombe cutting in transition, Embiid operating inside or spacing the floor. LeBron can legitimately organize everything. Last season with the Lakers, we already watched him begin sacrificing part of his role. As Luka became the head of the team, LeBron picked his spots, attacked in transition, which he was really great in, and took advantage of mismatches and instead of controlling every possession. That transition had already started. In Philly, his primary job can be initiating the offense, controlling the pace, finding mismatches, and making life easier for everyone else, and of course, getting points in transition. I know LeBron has one of the greatest basketball IQs we've seen. From a fit perspective, this makes complete sense. Philadelphia is definitely top heavy. Their bench is not going to be the deepest in basketball. However, Nick Nurse still stagger their rotation, so there's always at least one, realistically two high-level creators on the court at all times. LeBron can go to the bench while Maxey and Brown remain in the game. Embiid can rest while LeBron runs the offense. Maxey can sit while LeBron and Embiid operate together. There's so many different combinations Philly can use, and having Anthony Simons come off the bench is a major bonus. He's a consistent three-point threat who can provide double-digit scoring and create his own shot. He is obviously not the greatest defender, but he gives Philly another legitimate offensive weapon when some of the starters are resting. Obviously, offensively, I can easily see this team being one of the best teams in basketball. They have the speed, the shooting, the shot creation, the playmaking, the transition scoring, one of the most dominant centers still in the league. Defensively, I automatically wouldn't put this team up there as one of the best. LeBron is 41 years old. He's not going to defend at an elite level for every possession, especially for an 82-game season. Maxey and Simons also give up some size in the backcourt. However, Jaylen Brown gives them physical wing who can defend some of the team's opposing best scorers. Edgecombe gives them athleticism and energy, while Embiid can still anchor the defense when he's healthy. They have enough defensive talent to be solid if everybody buys in. They could be better than what people expect. There are several interesting destinations connected to LeBron. Miami would have been sentimental. LeBron could have unlocked certain things for that offense, but for their depth and shooting concerns, he probably would have been asked to carry a much bigger role on that Miami Heat team than maybe he wanted to have. Cleveland would have been another great story. There's nothing like finishing your career at home, and that roster, especially if James Harden returns, would have given him another opportunity to compete. But Cleveland chapter already has the perfect ending. He returned home, came back from a 3-1 deficit, and delivered the promise of winning an NBA championship. Minnesota would have been an extremely interesting. Imagine LeBron and LaMelo initiating that offense together with Anthony Edwards attacking, and all the two-way talent the Minnesota already has. That team would have been terrifying and potentially the favorite to come out of the West. Golden State would have been fun simply because LeBron, Curry, Draymond Green, the old heads teaming up, and Jimmy Butler, they're all teaming up for one final run. That would have been really interesting, but realistically, I don't think that team would have survived in a loaded Western Conference. Going back to the Eastern Conference make the most sense. Philadelphia gives LeBron the best opportunity to contribute without having to dominate every single night. The two big questions here ultimately comes down to health and chemistry. Can Embiid remain healthy throughout the season and playoffs? And can all this talent work together? Sacrifice, make this work. This is still their first season playing together. I don't expect them to immediately come out and destroy everybody. Building chemistry with this many stars could take time, but they also don't have unlimited time. LeBron has a player option for the second season, meaning Philly may only have one guaranteed year to win with him. If they win a championship, I could honestly see him considering retiring. If they fall short, he will have to make another decision then on if he wants to still continue to play or not. Everybody has to buy in immediately if they want this to work. If the team remains healthy, there is no doubt in my mind that Philly can win an NBA championship. The 76ers just added LeBron to the starting lineup that already included Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, and Joel Embiid. That is insane. LeBron has already changed the direction of Cleveland, Miami, Los Angeles. Now he has the opportunity to do it in his final chapter of his career. He has the opportunity to do what Philly has been trying to accomplish for more than 2 decades. Finally break through, reach the NBA Finals, and bring this city its first championship since 1983. This team is going to be must-watch basketball. But what do you think? Is this the best starting lineup LeBron has played with? Are the 76ers the favorites to win the Eastern Conference? Or is Embiid's health and their lack of depth still a little too concerning? Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is just insane. Have a great day. Peace.